YouTube, Salivate Metal here, and happy Merc Day. Mercury Dime Day, that is. It's April 22nd, the day after the launch of the Centennial Gold coin commemorating the Mercury Dimes design in 1916. And 125,000 pieces with a mintage limit. And within about 40 minutes, the status changed from on sale to back ordered to currently unavailable. And this article, for which I will post a link in the description below, discusses the day after launch of the 2016 Mercury Centennial Gold coin. Quite fascinating. And in the comment sections from my previous video, where I discussed the images that were released by the United States Mint, and also talked about the pricing for this, there was some negative comments, and rightfully so, about the high price and the high mintage. And I figured with a household limit of 10, there's no way this thing would sell out. A lot of people thought. Well, it proves that many of us were wrong about this. However, it does not necessarily mean it's sold out. In the United States Mint, as of the recording of this video, have not released sales figures for the Mercury Dime, for the Gold Mercury Dime as of yet. But there is some interesting news that Michael White of the Mint's Office of Corporate Communications responded to say that the Mint may not release the coin's first day of sales today, and who knows when that will happen. Apparently, they were quite overwhelmed with orders, and we know that if you read certain blogs and the like, you can kind of guesstimate the number of orders by the order numbers, and considering they're in sequential order. That, of course, does not account. It's purely a guess because people order other things other than the Mercury Dime. They may somebody could come in at that exact time and order a proof set or something. So, but ideally or ultimately, that's, there's not going to be that many of those type of orders that are going through. But what's interesting about this is not so much this synopsis on the day after, but a previous article, for which I will post in the description below, about some of the topics that I brought up upon reviewing those images. So I'm going to read this to you because I thought this was quite interesting, that this particular person, Louis, let's see here, Golino, had interviewed somebody at the Mint, and we don't know who that is, but with this type of information, answer some questions about the coin itself and the design. There was some confusion as to whether the images of the coin of the Mint released is an artist's rendering or the actual coin, and the answer is that it is of the actual coin, and it doesn't look like it's of the actual coin to me. It does look like a rendering, and most of us can tell the difference between, and that looks, I don't think the person of the Mint understood the question, and I think it's a rendering, and to me it just goes to show that I don't think that some of the people of the Mint actually know everything of what they're talking about, because that does not look like the actual coin. It looks like a rendering of the coin. And to me, there's a very obvious difference. The next question is, many people have noticed of the pictures of the coin that are that there's not any full bands, which are the horizontal lines, and of course it talks about the detail. The answer is no. In 1916, only certain levels of detail were available to be machined into hubs and dies by the Janvier transfer engraving machines, which basically reduces the dies down through a circular motion. It takes hours, sometimes days, to do that. So when the finer details are required, such as those found in original Mercury Dime, that detail had to be hand-scribed into the tooling by artisans of the day. The hand-scribing of additional detail in the tooling stage was phased out many years ago. The current digital process enables the Mint to achieve very high levels of detail. However, coin diameter, coupled with the physical limitations of milling steel hub dies while trying to achieve fidelity of detail, are all connected. Some of the limitations in detail are achieved are inherent to the process. So that's going around the bend to say that even with today's technology, they weren't able to get that level of detail. And I call total BS on that. I've seen lots of great detail, and even some of the United States Mint coins, and I believe they could still do that level of detail, even on that small of a canvas, even though it is smaller than the actual Mercury dime, the silver version. um, next question is that he had read online that the dies received no special polishing, which seems unlikely to me since he thought the dies were always polished, at least to receive some special preparation, including for business strikes. Is there truth to that? The answer is yes. The coin is a business strike. The dies are wire brushed after heat treating, but not polished to produce a contrasting field as with a proof coin. Uh, so I don't know if that really answered the question or not, to be honest with you. The dies are wire brushed after heat treating, such as to do with any, but some of you may have noticed in a previous video that I did about die polish marks. And the die polish marks are kind of what is sort of referred to here with wire brushing, but as to what level to where they're noticeable or they're purposeful, that is really not answered with that question. The next question is, since the coin were first proposed, the plan was to make them the same diameter as original, but thinner, because of the intention to make them their own weights, as in this case, a tenth of an ounce. However, the actual coin is about 10% smaller in diameter, with other specifications. What's the reason for making them smaller than the original? The answer is they used a planchette we had already developed so as to not incur additional cost. So that answer does make sense, and you can read here the rest of the answer. Next question. The Mint is able to say what portion of the maximum mintage of the 125,000 coins is already produced. As always, buyers are concerned that their orders will not be filled for an extended period. And the answer is the Mint anticipates significant customer interest and expects to have sufficient inventory for first day sales. So in other words, they did not answer the question. And the Mint is really famous for this by dodging questions. They're kind of like politicians there. And but one could speculate that they had minted all of them, but may not have packaged all of them for sale. And so why couldn't they have just said that? You know, they may have already pressed all 125,000 coins, or just said, well, we're going to have a certain number. But as you noticed, the sales went very early into back order status, and then it became unavailable. And so what's happening is that since they were sold, there's a chance that they could be made available again. There may be a couple of thousands made available again, because they're saying now that they are going to hold out and wait and see what happens after going through the orders and processing what's there and finding out how many have been canceled and the like, and then from there they will re-release them. And I think that's probably what would happen. I don't think they're sold out at this moment, but we shall see. So there's the update, and hopefully it's some new information for those, because I know that more than I expected, according to Silver Siren's poll, more of you had actually were able to make this purchase. So it's very exciting that members of the community here were able to get some, even though we know that the big boys, the Modern Coin Marts and the Silver Towns and JM Bullions, you know, they have theirs and they're already selling graded versions of those, which is ridiculous. But it happens every single time. And one never knows how these things are going to look. I mean, you look at the 2015 high relief coin. To me, none of those are 70s. Maybe very few where they don't have the die polish marks. But to me, those die polish marks take away from it being a 70. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for watching and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.